you live with your mother and father? It's very hard to do country living by yourself.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
The life before with me and Sean, like even the time that we've lived together in the US, in Grenada, whatever, we just spoke to each other about everything. We just made our own decisions. We didn't have to consult anybody. But now we have to like communicate clearly. So there's sometimes I talk to mommy about something and then daddy will be like, he didn't hear, right, and I didn't tell him, and he's very much involved in the process or should be involved in the process, and I just didn't get to tell him things like that. So you have to ensure that there's no Chinese telephone situation. You have to just communicate clearly. So what we do for that, we have meetings.
Family meetings.
Which we never used to have before. We never used to have family. Granted, we came from a family of 4 before. Me, I'm talking. But we were the children, my brother and I. So being the children, you don't get consulted on things.
For the most part, no.
They tell you when it's happening. They just tell you that something is happening, you know. They just tell you something is happening and you go along with it, basically.
So, for me, I was living alone.
Right.
For the most part, overseas. Sometimes, let's say, we'll come and go.
Or you come to me.
Army.
Yeah.
Go to you. But it was different in the fact that we didn't have much of accountability to anyone besides ourselves. If we're doing anything, we don't have to tell nobody we're doing anything. We're just kind of more spontaneous. And
just amongst ourselves.
Get things done.
Especially, we're going to say prior to Sky.
Especially prior to Sky coming to the picture.
Right.
But as you know, as you add more members to the family, then your whereabouts, you have to be clear about those. You have to be more accountable to folks. You got to let people know that you're staying out a little bit later than you.
Like how Sky is here and Sky stays with them when we are not here. So you have to say, oh, we're going out. We're not coming in back until this time.
But in the same breath, you have to be, everything is on you in terms of your responsibilities. So
right.
When
you were living, your groceries, your bills,
laundry,
clean, cook,
clean everything.
Yeah.
But we're living with a shared family, then responsibility is kind of shared amongst the adult members.
Right.
So that in that respect, in that regard, it's much easier.
Right. For me, remember I rented. So what I had to do, we were renting at the time when Sky came along. Now this is when Sky came along. We were renting, and I had to have a babysitter and somebody to clean. I had to hire somebody to clean because I was at the hospital working, so I couldn't do all of that.
Right.
She used to worry about our security at times. I remember him calling and saying everything okay or whatever. If we're hearing a little sound, I might call she and was like, no, so this is not safe. Right? Things like that. We just used to live, Sky and I alone.
Family used to come visit.
Family used to always come visit on weekends, but that's about it. Yeah. And that was life before. So we're going to continue talking about living with my parents. So he's living with his in-laws. I'm living with my parents. And one thing it does, I know for Sean, it gives him a sense of security.
Yes, definitely. When my wife was living alone, it used to bother me that, she's basically a single woman in that context with a child. Living alone, away from family members.
Right.
So that obviously is not the best ideal situation. So
right.
Having Mama G, Papa G there, another man in the house in the form of Papa G, of course, gives a sense of security. There's, additional persons in the house.
Right.
People are
kind of ward off people that if they're single.
Right.
So, if it were my parents alone.
And there's always somebody there, so there's no scenario in which there is no one in the house. We don't have to worry about Sky and security of Sky.
Talk about that. Care for Sky, because I'm at work. Sky gets home from school by 1 o'clock. I know that my parents, my mother mostly, is there to assist with Sky coming home and supervising her and all of that and ensuring she gets something to eat. And I don't have to worry, it's my mother. I have that security there, So that's a big plus.
Pick her up.
And daddy picks her up. Daddy picks her up.
Like, I guess 99% of the time.
100% of the time daddy picks her up. Who else picks her up? So daddy's there too, and from school, the only other person that takes her is me. So, daddy picks her up. So that's good. So the both of them play such a great role for me, for us as it relates to Sky, and helping in our parenting, right? So that's the benefit of living with the grandparents in that way. Oh, and we have a thing where at night, Daddy will ask if the grill is the grill open? I said, you're a man. You need to check if the grill is open. If I didn't have him, I couldn't say that. I'd have to know if the grill is closed, if the door is locked, all of that. He does the rounds. And when Sean is there, he does the rounds, So it's just more hands on deck, more things getting done. And that's the benefit of living together. So I just mentioned getting more done, and I don't have to cook, wash, clean. Well, I do wash, but I don't have to clean. And if I wash, right, and I'm unable to take up the clothes off the line, my mother is there to do that for me. And mommy cooks mostly. I'm not there to cook. I leave out early and I come back in late. So if they're supposed to wait on me to cook, they're gonna die of hunger by the time I get home. And just a lot of things being helped with, basically. Yeah, so we get a lot more done.
Definitely more efficient. Another thing that you have to bear in mind is that now we have 4 adults.
Right.
There are 2 different generations.
Yeah.
So we have to learn how to stay out of each other's business
and marriages.
So we have to respect them, and of course they do also respect us. I feel like it's more difficult for them
because we're younger and they're looking at this is my daughter. My mom is fine, but my dad will want to put him out in there sometime, and I have to be like, Daddy, I don't get involved in your business. Don't get involved in mine, which I don't. So they'll have their little squabble, and Daddy will call me or Mommy will call me and say, look what so and so did, and I'm like, oh, I have nothing to say. And Daddy was like, you won, man. Nothing to say because I'm going to take a side, and that's not fair. Let them deal with their issue by themselves, and if the 2 of them come now and they're asking, I'll say, this is what I think, but you guys need to sort this out.
Right.
I try to do that. One of the downsides though of living with them and going back to Sky is
sometimes too much chef in the kitchen.
Yeah, they'll want to parent her, and how we parent is different from how they parent.
Right. And parents are different from parents in terms of.
So my mother will more spoil her. My father not necessarily. My father will be on the strict end. Mommy will more spoil her. So we'll be disciplining Sky, and Mommy want to beg for her. We'll be disciplining Sky. Daddy will say, no man, more than that, or whatever. So. I don't really want an input there, or if I'm talking.
Confuse the child as well.
Say that again.
And it can confuse the child.
Right.
What's going on, and
what's the rule here? Yeah.
So it's good to have a standard in which we are the ones who are giving discipline.
Right. So what we do once we are there, because clearly if we're not there, they're gonna do their own thing. And Sky will understand the delineation. Once Mommy and Daddy are here, this is what it is. So we aim for that. We aim to say, Daddy will still say 1 and 2 things, and I say, Daddy, that's why I stay out of their marriage. I want them to stay out of my parenting. And even with Sean, sometimes Sean is doing something I don't agree. I'll let him do his thing, and then afterwards, not in front of Sky, I'll come and I'll say, I didn't agree with that. I think you should have done it this way or that way or whatever. But yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. Staying out of marriage and parenting and all of that. So the thing is this. If Sean and I had purchased a 2 acres land, which we live on 2 acres alone, the land wouldn't be what it is. And if you would like us to do a farm tour, let us know. A tour of what Daddy has done to the land. Really, we contributed, but our contribution is very tiny, very tiny. He's the one that has done everything, and if he was not there, and Mommy too, because Mommy does a lot of the gardening, so she weed up and stuff like that, and she do her cucumbers and whatever. But if Daddy was not there, I don't know, we couldn't accomplish all of that and work.
We'll definitely have
and try to provide financially.
Get somebody to do it for sure.
You would have to get somebody to do it, and sometimes good help is so hard to find. Good help is so hard to find. So for me, it's not that it's such a plus. There are negatives, but it's such a plus. And when I tell people, so sometimes people will ask me who I live with or whatever, and I'll say, oh, my husband and I, my husband and I and my parents, we all live together. I don't say we live with them or they live with us. Right. We don't do that because it's a partnership, and we started on a partnership. So we say we live together, and they'll say, big woman like you live with your mother and father. And they don't get it. They don't get it. And that's okay. That's okay.
There's so much we learn from them, you know, and so much they learn from us because there's so much things that they really don't understand about
technology,
the new system.
Every time they need help, like with the banking system or with their phones, WhatsApp, whatever, it's us, you know.
All this stuff.
All right, my father, for example, is the head deacon of his church, right? And to help with planning programs and stuff, we are the ones that aid in that process. Those technological things or whatever, you know, there are a lot of things that they don't have to worry about either. They don't even have to fret about because we are there worrying about them, you know.
Back to the thing with Sky too, it's just that experience that they bring to the table after child rearing and just how much can I learn from them, especially from like Mama G.
Oh my.
You know.
Mommy's so spiritual too, and she'll see Mommy go in her little corner and pray, and Sky's like she's gonna pray in her corner.
Sky know all these songs that clearly her grandmother teach her.
So she'll say, tell me you live with your grandmother without telling me you live with your grandmother, because Sky sings some old Christian songs and the hymns and stuff like that. And another thing, Mommy is trained in early childhood, and she did child psychology, so she has some base in that. So she has really done very well with Sky as it relates to her education. She's all up on that, like the spelling and the coming home and doing the homework and all that. That's her and Shian thing. But Mommy, when Shian is not here, Mommy's on top of it, trust me. So I can tell you that yes, there are pros and cons, but for the most part, we benefit more than lose. We benefit so much more than losing with living with them. And I know a lot of people couldn't see themselves. I always thought it was possible. I never necessarily saw my life in this way where I was going to live with my parents. You saw that? But this is where the Lord led, and this is how the Lord led. I will just go in that path wherever He leads. And as it relates to country living, it's very hard to do country living by yourself. It's easier to be in the town where you have concrete all around and you don't have to take care of land, and you just go to work and come back. And if you have somebody who clean your house once a week or whatever, you know, and it's smaller usually, so you don't have this whole house or this whole heap of cleaning or whatever to do, a whole thing to do. But no, when you're in the country, it's all hands on deck.
That's why you have to also be very rigid with your goals, flexible with your plans, because...
Say that again?
Be rigid with your goals, you know, and flexible with your plans, because you just don't know sometimes
how it's going to pan.
Yeah, to get to the goals.
So we knew it was country living, but we just never knew the plan of how we were going to achieve that. Right. Understood. Love that. Be rigid with your goals, but flexible with your plans of how you're going to get there. Love that.